Hello everyone, welcome to the PCM podcast. And since it's Pride Month, today we decided to talk about gay rights and the LGBT. With me today, we've got Proxy General representing the Authright,
Hello, and I wish every lady and gentleman a very splendid AIDS awareness month.
representing the Auth left, we've got, please tell us your name again because I'm not pronouncing that,
Zemaitiskas.
zemaitiskas. We have another center today, Bread Maker,
I continue to exist.
and representing Lib left, we've got anderveil.
Anderveil.
Anderveil. Okay, sorry. And representing Lib right, we've got Liquid Narrator, which is not here at the moment, but he will be back in a couple of minutes. So, gay rights. Let's go.
So, who's going
I-
to start? I think we should give Underville the ground.
Wait, what did you just say, Proxy?
I think you should talk first. That's what I meant.
All right. I guess I assume this is probably going to be you and I as the most opposed people on here.
Oh, are you sure about that?
Are you sure? Are you sure? I
Well,
mean,
I'm surprised.
I'm not sure. I'm just giving it betting odds. But anyway, but playing to type, I think that obviously gay rights are a good thing. I think gay marriage is a good thing. I think that I'm actually glad that society is slowly progressing towards one in which people of various different sexual proclivities can exist in the open without being horribly oppressed and discriminated against. And I think that that's all a wonderful thing. Yeah. I mean, that's the starting point, for me at least.
Well, is anyone here agreeing with him to add anything else?
I mean, no, I'm pretty much around the same position.
I'm more or less against the Pride Month and all this gay shit, I guess.
Pride Month could be on a better month. That is basically all I care.
Honestly, Pride Month shouldn't be a month, in my opinion.
Not worthwhile enough to celebrate.
Absolutely not, especially since every single gay person I've ever seen has always made, every single day about themselves.
Yeah.
I've seen it every day, whether it be on fucking Reddit, Twitter, you fucking name it. There was ooh, pay attention to me, I'm gay, ooh.
I mean, that's a kind of weird guy to put it,
Right.
but I agree on that, I believe.
When we get into socks with batteries in them,
Socks.
oh, in prison people would fill those bitches up with batteries and beat people with them, especially if they're gay.
That's
We should just do what
that's
the
your
best
weapon of
president ever,
choice.
Putin, is doing. Toss gay activists into jail.
Yeah,
Wait.
when you mentioned Putin, I think that the LGBT whatever flag has updated itself to include the Ukrainian flag in it.
Wait, what?
I'm not even shitting you. Have you seen the new type of flag that has that weird triangle in the left side? That's
It's so
basically
disgusting.
yeah.
It's so
It's
gross.
the colors of the
Wasn't that
French flag.
supposed to be for Black Lives Matter or some shit?
Yeah, and right
Fucking
after
hell.
those colors, it's the yellow and blue for the Ukrainian flag. That's basically the new current thing.
They added the flag of holes. They did?
Yeah, you can check it out. It's they updated it, I think,
какой кошмар, бля.
1 or 2 weeks ago. They updated it, I think. So that's basically the new current thing. That's that they updated into the flag. The previous current thing was Black Lives Matter, and right now it's Ukraine. I don't even know what they're going to add with the monkeypox thing. Are they going to add uh, a new shade of brown? I think, or a yellow.
My favorite gay person the entire country of Ukraine.
I mean, technically, if you speak about symbolism, the gay flag is supposed to represent the LGBTQ community. So having the black colors and Ukrainian flag in it isn't basically the best way to put it out that you're supporting them. It's basically
And
like
if I remember right, I think gay marriage is still banned in Ukraine.
yeah. Not only that, it's like saying their country is gay in some way. Like imagine Greece getting invaded by Turkey. And the only support we're getting from the West is basically having the Greek colors into the LGBTQ flag. That's basically, I think most Greeks wouldn't be too happy about that if that happened in a way similar to Ukraine, especially accounting the religious beliefs of the average Ukrainian. So, anyone else to add something?
I think, well, I'm not sure who quote unquote controls the flags here, but I think that whoever it is, whether or not they added Ukraine, it's sort of irrelevant. I don't really care what some guy posts on the internet as a flag design does. That has nothing to do with how people live their lives.
Apologies, I had my tea, you guys call it dinner, way earlier than I expected. I'm back now.
Alright, welcome back. So we'll basically introduce.
How long was I gone for?
I think
Like 5 months.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Alright.
So we've basically introduced ourselves. We're basically talking about the LG barbecue flag having the Ukrainian colors in it.
Does it?
Yes, I think they updated it like a week or two ago.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I can basically source it in the channel. Wait a moment.
Well, I mean, that was probably just some guy posting that. I don't think that this is the like official pride flag now.
Yeah, I just googled this, and Reuters, the next to AP, the other news agency, is saying that did not happen. And again, it was probably some person posted that crap on the internet, and then a bunch of people, without actually looking up whether it actually happened, just started repeating it.
I mean, I don't know how
Because
trustful
it was-
Reuters is, but...
Reuters is like, AP, the news network. Reuters is like the other big news.
I'm
network
aware
that
who
gives
Reuters
news
are, that's
to-
why I'm saying I don't trust them.
Are they
Wait,
are they as trustworthy as Snopes?
Okay, who
Honestly,
do
I think
you
I trust Reuters more on like economic things rather than social.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this may be a more personal opinion, but I don't trust fact checkers in general. I think that
Yeah, I think, like,
they usually just they. How can I say it? They're not as fact checkers as more about advertising these facts. Like
Oh, okay, I have
I
a
remember,
question.
I remember reading a fact checker. I think it was Snopes. I remember the case with
Oh,
George
Snopes are
Floyd.
biased.
Yeah, I remember a case with George Floyd when there was this
Oh,
supposedly rumor that he basically threatened a pregnant woman doing a robbery. Yeah, that basically happened, and it's not a rumor. It's basically in police reports, so it's official that it happened before the
Yeah,
event.
everyone knows that happened.
Yeah, but when I checked the Snopes, I think it was either Snopes or Reuters as fact check. Like if you Google George Floyd, a pregnant woman, or some shit like that, the first things you get are fact checkers. And one of them, I remember, said that it was a fake rumor because the photo that went together with the story is fake. Like if I remember correctly, the photo of the woman mentioned in the story is the photo of another person. So because the photo is wrong, the fact checker said that the whole story is untrue. That's basically false advertising.
This is why I hate the
Okay,
West. They like force people like what they want them to think and whatnot. It's literally 1984.
Wait, I have a question. Okay, so it's clear you guys don't trust Reuters. Fine. It appears you trust some rando. Like, where did you get this information? Was it just some rando tweet, like retweeting a tweet on Twitter? Because like, I don't trust Reuters on everything either. That's why I generally check multiple different sites, because Reuters
Yeah,
obviously
I
has
get
its
that.
agenda.
I get that.
But if you're just picking it up from like some dude on Facebook, it's like I don't trust Reuters, but I trust some rando on Facebook I've never met even less, unless it's something where Reuters has a dog in that fight. And then I find somebody else that I can trust better than Reuters or the rando on Facebook. So I'm just asking, why do you think this is true? Because I mean, the official flag,
I mean, I don't trust the
wouldn't
Reuters.
change.
I don't trust some random guy on Facebook either. But I mean, I trust multiple sources, and apparently fact checkers aren't too convincing for me. They're
Oh,
usually
okay, so
very biased, and they have they have a very common habit of trying to force facts around and trying them to advertise them differently,
Can I be?
okay.
like
If,
journalists.
let me
Journalists.
just say this: if the official flag changed, and granted, this entire conversation is, in my opinion, completely besides the point, but it has to do with critical thinking. If the flag changed, it means there's an organization with control over the flag that approved it. What is that organization? You will not find any record of an organization that controls the flag that did this because it didn't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, you see the flag
And
they changed.
please
I
don't
am
do it.
trying so hard not to make a Jew joke.
I mean, in the other, I mean, in the other side, who added the?
I mean, it changed
brown and
last.
black
It changed
color?
last year because they added the like the black and brown shit because apparently.
Yeah, who changed that? Because it was added. The whole triangle thing with the trans and
Yeah.
black colors that was added in the way. Who added them? And
There's
who
a
adopted the
there's a
flag
reason the
officially?
original pride flag has now been given the nickname the conservative pride flag. If you just put up a stream, Red Maker.
I still thought we were doing World War II, so I'm just gonna play this to take nerves off.
What?
I still thought we were doing a different topic.
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about?
Can you please take the stream off? Just
I think you understand what you're saying. Like, I think we'll let that topic go for another time because it was. If we were going to allow all opinions on the topic, we edited them out for YouTube, it was going to be 2 minutes long.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say is, I trust the guy on Facebook more than the political establishment.
I wouldn't trust either, to be honest.
Not a good way to.
I disagree. I believe neither. I basically trust mostly. I mean, even political sources. I just try to look as many as possible, and if the way they're written is valid.
I said I trust them more, not that I do trust them. Not that I even use Facebook. I don't really use much social media at all. But if you do want to see shit I have to say, follow me at @LiquidNarrator on Twitter. Just gotta shill it every week.
Shilling, goddammit.
Got to shill it every week. But yeah, no, I don't trust the political establishment or the guy on Facebook. Neither side is right. Because no one's right, because everyone is almost like living in a different reality from each other where there's different facts depending on what you believe. Basically, Metal Gear Solid 2 came true. But,
I do not like that I can.
You know I'm right, though.
Yeah, you are, and I hate that.
But, back on the actual topic, Proxy, please tell us why you do not like homosexual people.
I was going to ask that. Thank you for asking the question.
That's a weird way to put the question, but I mean that's pretty straightforward. I'll give you that. So the thing is that I don't quite dislike them. Like there is this word about hate that I keep hearing around, especially the internet, but also in real life. Like whenever you hear someone say anything critical of the situation, they basically among the words that being tossed around together with homophobic is also the word hater or racist or whatever.
I've not heard
The thing is
hater.
that I don't quite hate any specific group with very few exceptions, but homosexual isn't one of them. I won't say which group it is because
Would you care to tell us which groups you do hate?
yeah, that I won't say it because I want this. I want this podcast to be kid friendly. for YouTube content. However, imagine this group of people having a weird nose shape,
Ah,
a
yeah,
small
skin
house,
friendly. That's totally what we need on a resume.
and with a hawk phenotype. That's basically the only word I give. I ain't gonna talk about it.
Safe for work, do you mean?
Excuse me.
Do you mean like safe for work instead of like kid friendly? Because
Yeah, that I won't mention the word because I want this to be uploaded to YouTube, and saying it is basically no. Because if I remember correctly, the one who owns YouTube is belongs to that
it's
group.
a horse faced
So
bitch. Yeah.
I'm
That's one
talking
way to
about.
put it.
I mean, she is, but
So I won't
Yeah.
mention it. So let's go. Let's get to the point.
I
Anyway,
won't mention it even though I did, but anyways.
there are very
Let's
little
move.
people I outright hate in society, but gay people aren't one of them. I don't hate them. The thing is that I just don't like this level of openness. Like besides the thing that I'm uncomfortable with all these things that like it personally disgusts me that, but that's basically for any heterosexual person. Like as gay people aren't comfortable watching heterosexual people make out. That's also the thing with heterosexuals watching that's the thing with personal preferences.
w-
But the thing is that besides that, there is also the thing about openness. That's basically my outright issue with the whole LG barbecue or Pride Month shit. I basically don't like with the levels of openness.
would you agree
I
with a
believe
statement then that you believe that the state shouldn't affect what people do behind closed doors? Or
it depends on the amount because
yeah,
what
to
happens between the
consenting
closed doors.
adults, consenting adults. Yeah. Would you?
Yeah, I mean, if it happens before in closed doors between two consenting adults, I can tolerate it. Like I
Yeah,
don't
that's fair.
exactly love it. I don't like it, but I wouldn't mind
Yeah, it doesn't
either.
affect you. Yeah, that's fair.
However, the thing is when we normalize that behavior, like I will use another example. It's not exactly accurate in levels of quirkiness, but I will use it. They Furies, for example. Most most people will
Are
find
you
it
trying to say
weird.
furries?
Yeah, furries, whatever the
You said
accent is.
furies.
Oh, furries. That I'm not a native English speaker. I try to have
Yeah,
as
no,
good
it's
of an
okay.
accent as possible. So, but
It's just for anyone
sometimes
listening.
I don't nail it. So the thing is that take furries for example. Most people here don't exactly like them. We might find them too strange, too weird for our taste. But what they do in their own houses between each other, I don't have an issue in that because I couldn't care less. The issue is, however, if we normalize that and promote that behavior in social media, schools, the government, and society in general. That's basically my issue with the situation. I don't care what whichever quirkiness one person has, but I disagree when that behavior is normalized. And
Wait, have a
uh,
question.
yes, go ahead.
So you're saying you don't like this behavior to be normalized, but the only reason that you've given that you dislike this behavior is that you just personally find it disgusting. Is that like is that it? Is it just like
No, there's more to that. I gave it as an example of why I personally don't like it as a person. How and why most other people also don't like it because if you count the fact about heterosexuality, there have been studies on it, and the average person's viewing of different sexuality is always discussed in most cases. Like doesn't matter if their person is homosexual viewing heterosexuals or the other way around.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read.
And any person, yeah, like I remember reading an article that the average heterosexual person has his reaction to seeing two people,
Two people.
two men
So,
is out. Yeah,
I
the reaction to that is basically like watching maggots.
no. So what it was
Again,
exact
for them.
proxy. What it was exactly was it was heterosexual men. They're it was not. It was just men. It was nothing about women. But yeah, you're right. They're average reaction is comparable to that of seeing maggots.
Yeah, disgust basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also normal human behavior because whenever we see something different, it freaks. It doesn't go right with us. Whatever we see that isn't considered normal, whatever isn't common, we think it with a strange way. Whether that be curiosity, uh, how can I say, whether that is curiosity, fear, disgust, dislike, or whatever. In the case of sexuality, it's mostly disgust. And that also goes for homosexuals, by the way. We take two gay people, for example. Seeing straight people make out basically brings them the same amount of disgust because that's basically a way of the average human psyche. Whenever we see something we don't like, we don't associate with. However, if you take something that 99% of people don't personally align with, that's basically the same reason, the same reasoning, the same amount of reaction. However, that's besides the point. That's not the only reason I disagree with the practice or normalization of the behavior. I look at it mostly for religious and ethical ways, also biological. And which way would you like me to explain the most?
Uh, I'd say go biological. Because I can assume where the religious stuff comes from. Or I think most people
Yeah,
can assume too. So, like
yeah.
biological.
Basically, the religious thing is not only is it mainly subjective. Some people might agree, might not. Religion is something objective. One person might be Muslim, one might be Christian, so there might be some disagreement on that. So I'm mostly tossing it aside because mostly everyone knows that the Bible isn't exactly fond of the practice. So I'm going to get to the biological stuff. The thing is that with homosexuality or bisexuality, whichever way you pick it, uh, besides the thing that it doesn't exactly result in reproduction, it's most it's also a thing with culture. You see, the thing with the normalization of homosexual behavior is one of the signs of what's the word for it in English? Decadence. That's basically one of the stages of any societal circle in history. Say, take it with the late years of the Roman Republic, the Weimar Republic, or the USA right now. That's basically the late stages of some specific civilization. The thing is that when you normalize behaviors like that basically don't work in a positive way for the average sum of the population, the thing is that it doesn't help society in a way. Homosexuality in specific, for once, it doesn't result in a reproduction. So the more people change to homosexuality, the less people will there be to have the ability to have children. And the more it's normalized, the more people will tolerate that behavior spreading. So the more people of that group existing, the less the population reproduces. That's one of the reasons why we see such a drop in the. Sorry again for not remembering the word. Once again,
Like
I'm
a
not.
drop in the population.
Uh, yeah, there's a word
I
for it in
mean,
English.
maybe a drop in the population is what humanity
Demographics.
is.
Demographics. That's the word for it. That's the thing why we see a latest drop in the demographics, why fewer people are being born while more people die. That's also the thing why mostly in Europe, I can't say for Asia or Africa because their population is either stationary or on the rise. However, in the West and some Eastern countries like Japan, for example, the population is slowly dying. You have less people being born where more people die, and that becomes even worse as the years go by. So the more people adhere to homosexuality, at least strict homosexuality, not necessarily bisexuality. However, yeah, that's the thing that homosexuals aren't able to reproduce. Like I think that's obvious for someone. Like if you go for, if two men are basically in a stationary relationship or two women, they can't reproduce. So the more couples exist like that, the less people are able to make children and basically help fix the demographic situation, which is slowly getting worse. Besides that, there's also the thing about something I personally believe in, which is sexual deviance. The thing is
Also, can I
that
Are
go
we
back
about to go
to
back to
the
sexual deviance again?
Oh no, no, no,
I've
not
got a
again.
counterpoint. I've got a counterpoint to the biology, but we can do deviance
well,
first or later. Either one's fine by
if you
me.
disagree,
I
we
want
can
Let's just
to
cover
do.
deviant
I want to
first.
add a bit about like the overpopulation bit. So, not
Yeah, I think you
overpopulation,
should
but
talk about that first because
the
I'm mostly
reproduction bit.
talking on myself here. So we should break apart
Wait,
the monologue.
are we about to talk about overpopulation?
No,
No,
actually, I'm about to talk about research
underpopulation.
going into avuncular behavior among uncles and aunts that are homosexual. Because, if you look at genes, oftentimes, like, this is something like the selfish gene, the idea that we are, made up of various genes that exist to propagate themselves, and we are vehicles for them. One of the things is, well, if being gay makes you not have kids, then theoretically, after like 100 generations, there wouldn't be any gay people, right? Especially if there's any genetic component to it. And then it took scientists a while to sort of realize this and look into it. Is that there's actually sort of gay genes within familial units, right? If you've got like a gay person, generally speaking, like relations to them are more likely to be gay. But they also have what is called avuncular behavior, which is uncle-like, which means that gay men and women oftentimes act altruistically and share their wealth to make it so that people within their family, children within their family, get more resources. They're not channeling them to their own children, they're channeling them to their nieces and their nephews. So having a gay uncle means that all the money that they would be channeling to their own offspring instead gets divided, maybe not divided completely because they're spending it on other things, but it's like, if I'm gay and I have no children, I'm gonna give that money to my family when I die, and that means that the children of my straight family members are getting more money that I earned over my lifetime, which means that they're more likely to succeed in life. And so, I mean, and there is research about this that shows that this is a common thing, and it's one of the reasons that, like, the quote unquote gay genes continue to exist is because, like, they actually make their families more likely to succeed by channeling their money into the children of their siblings and other family members. And so, on a biological level, like, dude, I think that's great. Like, I wish
You
I had
mean
more
like
gay uncles and aunts.
Okay, so I actually
you mean like the psychology then, not exactly the genes in a biological sense.
So I was going to say I can actually confirm what Anderveil is saying, as I have a great uncle who is gay, and yeah, he's quite a lot of my savings is from him. Also, he's probably one of the most conservative people you will ever meet, which is strange enough. But yeah, I can confirm what Anderveil is saying from personal experience.
If I may add on, I don't think it's just the genes, anyways. I think it also like revolves around environmental like
Basically,
factors.
sorry, go on.
Like I think it revolves around environmental factors as well, because all of the my family members that are like gay related have all grown up within somewhere within the West and not here in Lithuania.
Yeah, the thing is that
I think it revolves around like how people are growing up and the environment they live in.
I have a question about
Yeah.
In Lithuania, like, socially speaking, how acceptable is it to be gay?
Not very. I remember there was a bill to pass gay marriage illegally. It fell at the first hurdle. Like it didn't even make it through the first one. Not only that, our own parliament members throw Hitler salutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so this is
I mean, that's a standard Balkan thing.
there might be some truth to what you're saying, but the thing is, the data is probably going to be slightly skewed because I assume there's a lot of people in Lithuania that may be homosexual that don't really want to be
no
open
doubt, no
about it.
doubt. I'm pretty sure there is a like decently sized gay movement in Lithuania.
Yeah, and so it's one where I mean, it's sort of kind of hard to. You can't really gauge the actual metrics of it very well when it's sort of like, well, it could just be people coming out, or it could be people being influenced. My understanding is, I mean, like, granted, and I'm not sure about everybody on this podcast, but it's like, I was pretty young when I realized, like, I like girls, right? Like, there wasn't a moment where I was like, should I do I want to like go with like having sex with men or do I want to go with having sex with women? Like which let me just, like make a choice here. Like there wasn't really any moment like that for me.
There's two
and
branching
I think
paths for life, like an RPG.
Yeah. I mean, and if you guys have different experiences, if you ever like, let me know. But my understanding is, it's sort of like it just was. And granted, I think that there can be like, there's like, for instance, political lesbianism, which is, not like a real thing that many people do. This is more of like a second wave feminism thing of like,
This is like saying.
Oh
this is like
yeah,
saying-
yeah.
So
I'm sorry, what?
Like-
they're not really lesbians, but they're doing it for political reasons.
Yeah, because
yeah,
they want
I
to
know-
like
What the
kill off
fuck?
men for some reason.
That's basically like saying you watch porn for the plot. I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there's not, I think, many people that actually do that. It was more of just like a, in second wave feminism, some people sort of like positing that it would be better to be a lesbian, even if you were not actually a lesbian. But for the most part, my understanding is like people just naturally have a preference, and it doesn't really. There's not really much choice involved with your preference. Like if you're in prison, you're generally, if there might be like some gay sex going on there that doesn't have to do with your preference. It just has to do with the fact that there's nobody else
mostly
around
rape.
that matches your preference.
That's basically rape, not exactly sex in prison.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that.
I mean,
Also for the
you can't really include raping as part of sexuality. That's like saying that I have gay sex because I went to an andrologist. That's not consenting in a prison. You can't say that it is.
I mean,
homosexual
some do
behavior.
it consent in prison.
That's true, but
I'm
if you think
literally
about it-
saying that it's divorced from their preferences and that they're not like it's like
Yeah.
different from being gay.
If you think about it, prison is just government mandated butt sex.
In a way, I guess. But however, the thing is that I wanted to ask
The
you
prison
something
system was
about,
designed to create more
about the thing you said
homosexuality.
about the gay genes, about the research. From what I understood, there wasn't exactly a genetic pretext, but mostly a psychological one, right? Like a gene in a metaphorical sense.
Well, there is no, as far as like, there has not been identified a gay gene. It's been shown, to my understanding, that there might be a genetic component based off of the rates at which people who have like gay family members might also turn out to be gay. But you could also say like, well, they might be influenced because it's like a family member. I'm not sure how many studies of like twins
Yeah,
separated at birth have been done on
I
this.
believe that's also. I believe that's mostly psychological. Like how you are more able, how you are more likely to adopt the political ideology of your parents or your family members. Like you can imagine how many people I know that basically follow a political ideology because of their families. Like say, for example, um, let me think of an example. Oh, let me think of my uncle, for example, from my father's side. He's basically a monarchist because my grandfather is one too. Most people adopt their political ideology from their environment before they become too critical of them. That goes for any political ideology because that's basically a part of human nature. to an extent. That's basically mimetism. Whatever we see, especially during childhood, we basically try to mimic it because that's our way of that's an evolutionary way of adapting to our environment. If many people are doing it by an extent, it would be beneficial for us to adopt it too. That goes not only for direct ways such as learning how to write or speak. That also goes for political ideologies, sexuality, religion, and all the other stuff like that. Think of how the majority of the population adheres to a religion because that's what they grew up in. Say Catholics, for example. Most Catholics are Catholics not because they understood the religion, but because they grew up in a Catholic household. If you get my point.
I'm sure what you're saying is true. It's just all I'll say is, from my experience in my family, I've actually seen the opposite. Where, for comparison's sake, my parents vote our Conservative Party who aren't conservative. I think probably about centrist, like anti-gun, that kind of stuff. Like average British person, really. I'm pretty hardcore into libertarianism, and I'm an absolutist on free speech and firearms. I'd probably just describe my politics as conservative libertarianism. I disagree with them on a lot of things. Same thing happens with my brother, who's for.
Yeah, there
who's
are
for.
exceptions.
I
Of
was
course.
gonna say, but my brother is also quite strongly disagrees that I'm just in the opposite
Yeah,
direction of me.
I agree. There are exceptions to that, but however, that is basically the case for most people. There are exceptions, like say, for example, me myself, because my father is basically an agnostic to the point of being a borderline atheist. He also has friendly opinions of paganism. However, me on the other hand, I'm a Christian theocrat, so that's a pretty large difference. So think of the Christmas table at our family.
Oh, nice. Chile was great.
Yeah.
The thing
What I
is
want,
that there are exceptions. However, most people adhere to what they learn from their environment.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying that. I'm sure what you're saying is true. It's just, again, from my limited experience, I see the opposite. But I'm sure what you're saying is completely true.
Excuse me for 1 second.
No problem. So, does anyone disagree with what he said so far?
I'm actually surprised. I expect this to be like far worse.
Yeah, I was expecting.
Yeah.
I was expecting some like Alex Jones rant, like about how they're trying to convert our kids into gays or something.
They're putting chemicals in water and they turn a fucking frog's grave.
The
Globalists fucking
so-
cat gay.
globalists are in the schools and they're turning the kids gay. That's what I was
And the
expecting.
thing with Alex Jones
Guys,
is
I had to
that
put I had to put down my dog because they put a gay in the water.
good one.
Oh, that's why it
However,
tastes salty.
the thing is that Alex Jones wasn't completely wrong in that
Oh no,
situation. I mean,
I'm an Alex Jones supporter.
the
I
thing
am a
is
big
that
fan.
he was both correct and not in this situation. It's the way he said it, because I think there were kind of researches and articles on this, and it was true
He's
that
referring to
due to some
hermaphrodite.
Oh yeah, it was.
yes,
It was.
hermaphrodism, because due to chemical input in the water of some specific area in the United States, the chemicals basically created a genetic pretext for genetic disorders in frogs that basically turn them into hermaphrodites. Not exactly gayness, but close enough. That's basically what he meant. He just said
Isn't
it
that
in a comical
similar?
way. The
Isn't
thing
that
with
similar
Alex
to what
Jones is
fluoride?
Nearly everything
The
Alex Jones
fluoride
says
that
is
is
true.
in
It's
us.
just exaggerated.
that it's basically like another journalist we have in Greece. Basically, what's his name again? Stefan Hios. Their way of speaking is
No, no.
yeah, you know that. I mean, your Greek.
Kios is like totally insane though.
Yeah, he's like the Greek Alex Jones. The thing is that both of them
So
basically
essentially, would it be like a Greek man sounding like a Southern man going, "Yassos, brother"?
uh, kind of, kind of. The guy
You
was.
made me
So if Alex
fucking
Jones was
spit
a
my
faggot,
water.
The thing is that both of these guys basically say true things, but they say it in a comical way, in a
yeah,
bombastic
it's
and
exaggerated.
exaggerated way.
It's exaggerated.
I don't know if might be for one of three reasons. One, they're insane, which I doubt because how could they be wrong? How could they be right so many times if
What did you say
they got a radar?
what did you say
So
Greek
I
Alex
doubt
Jones was
that.
called?
I don't think they're insane. I don't think that's the case. So we get to one of the two cases. One, it's an advertising, how can I say it, strategy, because the more you make it sound like a meme, it's more
Yeah,
likely to be tossed around.
yeah. Everyone
Like
knows Alex Jones because of
that's
the
the
Gay Frogs
reason.
clip.
Yeah, everyone basically knows Alex Jones and Stefanos Hughes because they're basically meme lords. Whatever they say it
Well, I
in a
don't know the
comical
Greek guy,
way.
but I know Alex Jones. Because I'm assuming
So
the
they're
Greek
going.
guy just applies
If
to
you check
Greek
in
people.
host chat, I just put down a remix of the Gay Frogs.
I
Yeah,
think everyone's seen
nice.
that. Yeah, that's great.
So yeah,
It's
that's
great
the
and it's on
reason.
topic for
That's
once.
that's basically my argument. Because they sit in such a comical and exaggerated way, it's most likely that it's going to be spread around.
Yeah.
And besides that, I think there's another possibility that they're doing this in a defensive reason. Remember when Tucker Johnson, when Johnson is his name, John Tucker,
Wait, what?
Tucker
Tucker
Carlson
something. What's his name? His full name?
from from Fox
What?
News, the guy.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
Tucker
Tucker
something.
Carlson.
Hi,
Tucker
that.
Carlson.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson. So the thing is that if I remember correctly, he went to the court for a lawsuit because of defamation, and his defense was that he said it in such an exaggerated way that no one would take him seriously.
That's what.
That
No,
was
that was Alex
his defense.
Jones. That was Alex Jones.
I think that
Or,
was
no,
also from Tucker.
No, that was.
Proxy is somewhat correct that Tucker Carlson did have a suit, and the Fox lawyers said that his show is not a news show. Everything on it is not supposed to be believed. Therefore, there is no
Yeah, that,
obligation for
I
any
think
of it to
that's
be true, and they cannot be held to it. So Proxy is correct here.
yeah.
That was their position.
The thing is that it's mostly a defense. Like I don't think I don't think they do the shows in a comical manner. I think they're pushing it that way for a defensive reason, so they can spread the right kind of information. And whenever someone comes out with a lawsuit, they can basically excuse themselves by saying it isn't serious. So think of the guy on Reddit who's saying, "No, I was being a Nazi ironically." That's the type of defense. It was ironic. Like I don't think that's seriously what they're posing, but I said that in a straight accent, to be honest, but whatever. Yeah, I don't think that's what they're trying to come up with, but that's mostly an excuse. So the way they push it around with a completely comedic and bombastic way, that's mostly so they can come out with an excuse to say it was a joke when people try to use it against them. I don't
I'm gonna
think
have to do that
they're
for this
insane
show.
or something. So in a similar way, I want to say that in case anyone else finds my Reddit account, it was everything I've said in this episode is completely ironic. I support nothing I've said here, and please don't ban me.
Yeah.
Please,
Same one.
I already had 8 accounts. Please don't do it again. I'm too bored.
I would like to just say in advance for when one of us gets doxxed. This is all ironic. We don't believe any of the things we are saying in this. It is all satire. Think BLM, trans rights or human rights, etc., etc. This is ironic.
In before Radial reports us to the FBI.
Most of us are probably already on.
I'm willing to stand behind what I'm saying here, but maybe that's just me.
I don't know what Japan's laws are on freedom of speech, but yeah, this is like a precaution so I don't go to fucking prison. So I
don't think we've said anything that
I'm
is like...
pretty sure I could get away with saying crazy shit here just because I don't think we have any like hate speech laws.
yeah, bread maker can get away with it. I don't know what
For now.
For now,
I think Greece has hate speech laws.
literally everywhere in Europe does. Everywhere in Europe is just
Yeah,
not
but
here, not here. We don't have any
you know
here.
the thing is
Based.
that we created these laws earlier than later than anyone else. Like England has had some hate speech laws for decades. However,
2 decades. It's been 2 decades. You fucking
yeah,
retard.
I
Greece.
remember
Yeah,
we have
however, the first time Greece has published hate speech laws was basically in 2015.
Oh right.
That's basically 7 years ago
Yeah.
only.
Yeah. No. England did their first and only one, to my knowledge, in 2001. But that only applies to online. Scotland, on the other hand, does have ones that apply to everyday life. That was passed 2 years ago, because the Scottish Parliament has been getting more and more power and they're having to answer less and less to England. So they decided, let's be the most authoritarian country in fucking Europe besides, what's the one that's a dictatorship? Belarus. The only one that's
fucking Belarus.
the only one that has beaten us for how terrible our our free speech laws are is fucking Belarus. That's how bad it
When
is
did
here.
Dankula get
Not the dogs are gonna go out. I need to go.
yeah, the dog?
Dankula was, I want to say 5 years ago, but that was not under Scottish law. That was under the English law, because the Scottish one hadn't been passed yet. So, well, as I was saying, the English one applies to only online if you post it. So Dankula posted the Nazi pug video online, which is what caused him to get arrested for that. If he had just kept it on his computer and that was it, he would have been fine.
That's basically nothing for European standards. Have you heard of what's her name again?
Yeah, but that's just the English law though. If you count the Scottish law, it's fucking crazy. But there are some countries that are really bad for it as well. So like Norway, for example, if you misgender someone, you can go to
I
prison
remember
for that.
her name. So basically, for European standards beyond Scotland, have you heard of a lady named Ursula Haverbeck?
Was she the Holocaust denier?
Yes. So she basically went to prison like 5 to 10 times already, and she's still in prison in the age of 89.
Yeah, I've read about that. But yeah, no, the European countries are really cocked when it comes to free speech.
Oh, not even 80.
Honestly,
I got
Lithuania,
her
we have
age,
pretty
man.
good free speech.
Yeah,
The only
she's-
laws I remember we have about political things is the banning of Nazi and Soviet memorabilia in public.
So okay, well, Europe is cocked
The thing
besides
is that
Lithuania.
I got the age wrong. She's not 80. She's like 93
Fucking
years old.
hell!
She's still in prison,
I have to ask.
serving her sentence.
What's
For another
Lithuania?
10 months,
I have
10
to-
years, I don't know.
I have to ask. What's Lithuania's taxes like? Are they high or?
I don't know. I don't pay fucking taxes.
I was gonna say, because I'm gonna leave Scotland, and if you guys got nothing,
Wait,
sounds pretty.
I mean, I'm not old enough to pay taxes yet. I don't know.
based. I pay a little bit of tax for things I buy, and that's it.
Sorry guys for being that annoying kind of.
But honestly,
confident, but are we
Lithuania's
derailing
not that
this?
great.
It can't be worse than here. I mean, my name, Lord of Dundee. I'll point out Dundee is drug capital of Europe.
I do want to hear what Proxy was saying, if that's all right. It seems like he had something to bring into
We
the
can
Yeah,
discuss
go ahead,
Scottish
Ross, go ahead,
heroin
Ross.
later.
I mean that we're basically derailing the conversation. Sorry for being that kind of guy, but
No. I was on the same page as you there. We can bring it back.
Lip left,
I
off
mean
right
this
unity.
basically I bet this is like the only time in the podcast we are going to agree on.
No, we also agreed that Alex Jones was somewhat right. Not phrased wrong, but in the same direction on the gay frogs. Everything else that Alex Jones says, to my understanding, is wrong, as opposed to everybody else thinking that it's right.
No,
But,
no.
What about
depends,
interdimensional
depends.
space elves?
Remember about Epstein?
Yeah,
The
he
thing he said.
Oh my fucking Epstein.
okay, I shouldn't say everything. But
he was right on
again,
Bohemian
we're
Grove. and
derailing a little bit.
He
I
also
apologize.
predicted the
What I was trying to
pandemic.
say is there are moments we agree, but we should take it back on the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
So,
bring it back to the
people,
gays.
What about pride parades?
God,
Because
it's
I
so
feel like
fucking
this is
annoying.
something
I don't
that
want to
they
hear
should
them
be more of.
like screaming and drumming in the fucking
Wha-
streets all the time.
one
God,
sec before we
It's
go
just
into
that
one sec before we
I
go into
believe
pride
that
parades.
the only
Ale-
parades that we should allow
Fuck's
are
sake.
national parades. Gay parades, they should be banned, in my opinion.
Can I say
At
something,
least in my
please?
country. Yes.
Okay, before we go into pride parades, I want to say one last thing. Alex Jones, if you're listening to this, come on, email me.
Yes,
Email me, daddy.
we have nothing to lose.
Alex Jones is unironically like my dream guest. Yeah, Alex. If you're
I'm
listening-
sure you got a body pillow of him or something in your house.
I have an Alex Jones body pillow.
Oh no.
Please, daddy, pet me.
Didn't Alex Jones have a Tumblr? Didn't he get run off by normal people threatening to fuck his wife?
What?
Yes. The gay frogs will fuck my wife. Leaves, never returns. It is an amazing story.
Yeah, it's not as good as when Alex Jones got caught with tranny porn on his phone. But
I think that's fake news, to be honest. Because
no, it's
that-
real. He's
that was-
admitted to it.
It was the live stream.
He's admitted to it. It's real.
I think that's as real as the thing with Nick Fuentes, because the
Oh
same
no, Nick
controversy
Nick
came up.
Fuentes is just a faggot. No,
No,
Alex Jones
I mean-
is admitted to it. You did.
The thing with the two people is that the same controversy popped up at the same time, which is kind of odd. Because I mean, two right-wing conservative people supposedly had tyranny pornography on their phones at the same time, which is kind of odd.
No, dude, Nick Fuentes is literally he is just a degenerate though. Like he's
I mean,
he's known for
the
all
thing
this
is
stuff.
that
Alex Jones
supposed-
Alex Jones has admitted that was on his phone.
But
He-
when did he admit that?
He did an interview with Count Dankula a few years ago, and Dankula was asking
Yeah, but
about
said
it.
he was looking at for research purposes. That was the level of the excuse.
I can't remember exactly, but he did admit that that was on his phone.
Why did he say?
Because as I said, Dankula asked him if it was like what everyone thought it was. If I remember correctly, Dankula asked him if he was a man of culture, and he said that was on his phone. So that there's no conspiracy here for once, and
Did
that's
he
strange
say
for
why
me.
he had it?
That's
Did he say why?
It's been a while since I've seen it, but he did say it was there. If I remember correctly, I think someone just sent him a random link or something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but for once, I'm actually going to say there isn't a conspiracy here. Nick Fuentes is just a degenerate, and Alex Jones did have that on his phone.
I can respect Alex Jones for just admitting it.
Oh yeah. I respect that he just said that was on my phone. That takes balls. I respect that.
That's
As much balls as the trannies in the porn. So yeah.
funny.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. But no, there for once there isn't a conspiracy here. Anyway,
thing with-
pride
the thing
parades.
with-
Hate them
oh,
or
yeah.
love them?
Hate them. I don't want to hear
Hate
them in
them.
my fucking streets again. They're
No.
so fucking loud. I don't want them here.
The thing
If
is-
another fucking pride parade comes through my small little town, I'm going to cause an armed mass shooting.
in the case of
FBI
anyone
watch
else,
list.
I'm not joking. I'm done with the games.
That was a joke. That was a joke. Please, Fed, don't take that gun. Don't squat
I
my
just hope
house.
no one from my little cult hears this episode, otherwise I'm 100% getting shunned.
The thing is, however, that I'm also annoyed with them because I mean, I hate them either way, but at least they could be modest about it, which they never are.
Oh yeah, but then you see like the guys in the
Whenever
dog
there's a-
suits and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, when last time we had a pride parade, there were guys having Christian iconography strapped to their crotches, like
Jesus.
having Orthodox icons, like the Orthodox
Oh, yeah,
Christian
yeah.
kind. Yeah, imagine these icons, but with like edited. Say an icon of Christ, but with his halo in rainbow colors, or Christ with lipstick, stuff like that. They paraded those icons around. I believe that they could be they could be modest, they could be respectful, but they never are. So you got guys like this, dressed in leather and shit, half-naked guys with those icons kissing each other in front of the parliament.
No,
So-
the worst one I
so
saw was,
that-
have you seen the image of the guy in like
I
leather?
despise that.
The worst one I've seen is, have you seen the image of the guy in a like leather dog suit pretending that he's a dog?
What is that?
And it's some little girl
Do
like
you
being
see
told by
why
a
it's
mother.
open hunting
Will-
season now?
Yeah, so the
Will-
mother's they got
will-
this little
if I-
girl trying to get her to pet him and stuff. It's fucking disgusting.
Yes,
If I
but
had
the
a
thing-
chance, like, I swear, next time this happens near my house, I'm gonna grab some Afrolex and gasoline.
I can help you with some stuff if you need to know how to deal with that.
I don't remember if it, how long ago was it or where it was, either here or Latvia, but I remember there was a pride parade like a couple years ago, and the gays got stoned.
I want to go. I want to go back and help
In
throw.
what way? In
I will
what way?
throw
Inshallah, inshallah.
I will load a fucking trebuchet and launch that bitch full of stones.
Okay,
Inshallah, if they do not behave themselves, I shall give them a taste of my shoe.
I'm moving to Lithuania.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Can I ask you all a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you aware of the availability bias?
The what?
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 The availability bias. I study cognitive biases as, you know, one of the many things in my free time. The availability bias is something where people, when something is highly noticeable, they believe it's more representative than it actually is. It's a common thing. Like, it's just, you know, there are biases that human beings suffer from, and this is one of them. And, you know, when saying, like, you know, they never are respectful. Well, it's like, no. At pride parades, the people that go to pride parades and do this are the ones that want to do it and be visible. But all the gay people that don't want to be doing that obviously aren't getting on a float to look normal, right? They're just sitting at home being gay, or going on the internet and having a normal conversation and being gay.
How do you
You
sit
know,
at home
like-
and just be? How do you sit at home and be gay? Make it sound like it's just a hobby they do or something.
Oh no, I'm just saying it is a continuous state of their existence
Yeah.
that you aren't noticing, because they'll just like be a guy in a business suit drinking some coffee next to you, and then they, you know, go and do their business stuff, and they just seem like a guy, and then they go home and they have gay sex because they are gay. And you just
Yeah.
aren't noticing that they're normal like this, because like they're not the guy with nipple tassels on top of like the float, you know, like, you know, painting a picture of Jesus with lipstick. And like that guy exists.
That
The guy on the
image.
float exists.
Oh,
And that's, I have no problem with
Image
him.
I'm looking
But, like,
for.
Look,
Yeah,
I
but
can,
if I'm looking at a person and I
I
can't
can
tell they're
reason
about
with that.
cowboy, I'm okay with that. But yeah, when you have the guys in their dog suits, the guys dressed as Christ or whatever,
yeah.
that's when you're like, "Ah, you're kind of taking the piss here a bit. But
Yeah, however, this is the thing. Like, I can tolerate these people to an extent. However, we're talking about the pride parades in specific.
yeah. And
Yes,
I
but
believe this
isn't
should be
there like
banned
even a
as a thing.
schism within the LGBT community that
I personally
that,
follow-
that belongs to like the king side, and kings should not be represented in pride parades? There is a schism
yeah, like
between
within
them.
the LGBTQIA and, you know, other communities, like as Homie says, this is like a debate, because like, again, amongst you know, the LGBT you know, Q community, it's sort of like, well, obviously this is getting a lot of fire from people when you're dressing up in leather and, you know, like dancing to music and you know, just going balls to the wall on this one. And so, as Homie says, like, yeah, there is discussion within the community about, like, you know, is this, you know, should we tone it down?
Tone it down, you say.
Yeah, that's my understanding. The discussion is whether or
only-
not at Pride Parade to, like, not have kink
I mean,
versus have kink.
toning down is like a strong word for me, because toning down means that you still keep the same shit, but in a slightly less glowing way. I believe it shouldn't happen at all. I believe in a police system. Like, have any mention of it banned. Like, you can do it in your house, so don't care, but don't do it in public. Don't boast about it, don't promote it, don't normalize it. That's basically my policy. What I believe should be done in my country, at least. Which thing what used to be done around the 30s and 70s. However, we completely abolished that mindset in the 21st century, especially after the 2050s, 15s.
Yeah, that's so perfect segue here. Over here in Britain, there's another conflict around in the LGBT community besides the kink stuff. I don't know if it applies to the rest of the world. All I'm aware of it happening is here in Britain, but we have another like subgroup inside the LGBT community called the LGB Alliance, who basically believe that the transgender part is a bunch of nonsense and shouldn't be with the rest of it. And that tied into Pride parades when fairly recent. I don't want to say recently, like maybe 6 months ago, maybe a little longer. There was a guy who showed up to a Pride parade in a LGB Alliance shirt and was escorted away by the police. So
are those like the torps of the gay community, like it is with feminism?
Yeah, kinda. But to segue, what would everyone's opinions on transgenderism be, and if it does fit in the LGBT thing, or should they be?
It does not
things?
burn it.
I basically love that mindset. Like they even fight among themselves on who is the most degenerate among them. It's like
that
for
actually
me
raises a good question.
At least for me speaking, it's like taking two pieces of shit and saying which smells the most. It's like your dog sitting in your house and saying which of the two turds smells the least to keep it in your house. So this one smells the most, and I must keep it the other one.
If I were to give my opinion on both the gays and transgenders,
don't mind.
Honestly, I don't care if they are. They're both being sent to jail.
I mean,
they would all be burned under religious concerns.
I mean, basically, I love that allegory because it fits a lot of things. If you think about it, it is also an effective allegory for the two-party system. The third that smells the least is what stays in the government.
Yeah, well, it's like
the least of the two evils.
Yeah, it's like there's a whole joke in South Park about when it comes to voting in the two-party system, you have a giant douche and a turd sandwich. It's like that, yeah. Where you have two terrible choices and you have to choose between one of the terrible choices. So it's basically choosing, do I want to get really fucked or do I want to get partially fucked? But, yeah.
Please be gentle.
You okay there, Liquid?
I was not expecting that.
I didn't even hear it.
He said, please be gentle.
wait.
You're laughing You're laughing so...
I'm confused.
No, wait, I have a question.
You two are laughing so hard the microphone doesn't even handle it.
Yeah.
It basically cuts midway through.
Yeah, I'm genuinely sweating. I was laughing that hard at that.
I guess you could say you were laughing your ass off.
No, burn.
Applause.
Wait.
Applause.
I have a question. Am I the only person here who's okay with transgender people?
You are homosexual.
I think you are the only one, yes.
I mean, homosexual is... I mean, hence the name, to be honest. Hence the name.
It's complicated. I mean, I think that they should exist, but I'm against transitioning children. That's the only, like, anti-LGBT position I have.
Oh, I guess from what you're saying, at least, I guess you support Nea Demokratia.
I support what?
You support Nea Demokratia.
I'm more to the left.
I'm going to.
Oh,
I'm not going to.
Syriza.
I'm going to keep my.
No, of fucking course not.
I'm going to keep.
They're fucking retarded. No.
When it comes to my beliefs on it, I'm going to keep my cards to my chest because, as I said, I'm going to record something with Vinyl on Monday about this. So I'll talk about my stuff then. So I'm going to keep my cards close to my chest on this right now. And I'm not going to explicitly say what my opinions are on transgenderism, because this is probably something me and Vinyl...
You're talking with Vinyl on Monday about transgenderism and I'm not invited?
Well, just about the whole Pride stuff in general. Was she's not able to make it today, so me and her are looking up and recording something on Monday. So, just as a side thing. You can come if you want. Though it might be a little
I'm
later.
totally just gonna airdrop sometime. I'm
Uh,
just gonna exist.
but yeah, I'm not gonna explicitly say what my opinions are on transgenderism because, like homies, it's a bit complicated. I'll still say stuff, but I'm not gonna explicitly say what my beliefs are on them. Come back for
Okay.
the bonus if you want to see that. But yeah. How do you say your name? Zemaitiskas? Are they?
Oh yeah, zemaitiskas, yeah.
I'm not even gonna try pronounce that. But
Just like do, I don't know, Gem or Z or whatever. I don't know, you name it.
Yeah, zemaitiskas. It's not
That's
that
too
hard, right?
Russian. I mean,
I'm
saying Z is too Russian. I mean, for the podcast, it's most likely going to be taken down.
I'm Scottish.
Uh-huh.
I cannot pronounce any of these Eastern European names.
I mean, as a Greek
How do you think
person,
it feels to be from the land of freedom?
I mean,
Yeah.
as a Greek person, it's easy for me to pronounce it. I mean, we get a lot of Serbian tourists around here. They basically
I can read most Greek things too because I was there like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the thing is that I love Serbian tourists. Like they're very useful in a way because they basically beat the shit of American tourists whenever they come to our islands. Islands like
Oh,
Mykonos.
you're from the islands.
No, but I go there and I know people that have seen it. Like it's pretty frequent that Serbian tourists basically beat the shit of Americans for basically not liking them. Like I remember reading about an event where there was an American group in a tavern. A group of Serbians just walked by at random, saw them, noticed they are Americans, and basically beat the shit out of them. and they basically told them they should leave Greece.
Proxy, I have an important question for you.
Is that all because of booze? Was that
Oh, the
about
bombing of Belgrade in
Albanians
1999.
in the Albanian-Serbian war?
Please don't mention Albanians. I don't want this podcast to be taken down.
Proxy, I have a question for you though. So you say
Yes?
you find homosexuality disgusting, but at the same time you're Greek. Curious, wouldn't you think?
I have a pretty good answer for that.
Shun your heritage!
You know,
Be proud of who you are, Greek man. Be proud of who you are.
wait, Breadmaker, you sounded like a Warhammer character.
You did,
like
yeah,
in Visitor.
That's just a fucking.
Trust me, this is how I act whenever I go to a servant. I'm just depicted as a zealous person that is somewhat virtuous.
Nah, Proxy, I was actually just
So-
playing Dawn of War. That's all you heard. But-
Yeah, it really
Though-
is.
I have to say, No, that
Wait,
was a good
you sounded
burn.
like
I
what's
have
the
to-
character? Like Salt's Pyre or whatever his name is, Victor. That guy from Vermintide.
I didn't play Vermintide.
Oh, yeah, the witch hunter. Yep.
You sounded like him exactly. Anyway,
I just need to add a bit more shaky old person to that.
Look, I have a pretty convincing answer for your question about the paradox to that.
Do not look at the
Nothing-
monstrosity I just sent in general.
The thing is that it's not gay if you're the top.
no, historically
fucking
speaking,
made me
this
swear out
is
my water,
wait.
you bitch.
Historically speaking,
I mean, I
he
think this
is correct.
Yeah,
Historically
like-
for the
speaking, in
Romans.
Greek society, in
It was
Norse
the Romans.
society, even.
Dominating Swedish
No, like-
migrants. is
Like,
one
listen,
of my
he's right.
favorite-
He's right. I have a thing for this.
Dominating,
Essentially, it's the most manly thing to do to dominate the weaker man.
That was
you merely said Swedish instead of
Okay.
weaker.
So
Like I heard you stutter. Like you said, weak.
So
the Greek was more mentor and teacher thing. It was weird.
so
Yeah, that.
The Romans were the one that did it the way you were saying.
Yeah, it is pretty controversial to say this thing here because look, the average person is kind of tolerant in the levels of homosexual. Like they don't like being too open about it, but they tolerate it. They don't have an issue with it. However, if you say shit like ex historical person was gay or ancient Greece was gay, they're going to beat you up or something, or at least yell at you.
okay, so
Incoherently.
the important question then is, seeing that you and Homie are both Greek, who's the top and who's the bottom then? Who's the gay one?
Every
Go
fucking
for
time
that.
I go for a drink of water, you bring this up. God damn it!
I got a
I am older since
I believe this is the appropriate drink for the situation. I didn't think of it when I bought it. I just wanted something to drink. However, a can of Monster is more appropriate about the topic than I thought. Anyone who
Are we
knows
just drinking? Okay.
is anyone if anyone is aware of the meme about the Monster can?
I don't drink Monster. That shit is terrible.
I don't
I'd
drink
rather
energy
not
drink.
piss
Period.
rocks.
yeah,
It
that's
is one of the
good
things
behavior.
that you either love them or hate it.
Yeah,
One of the
Monster
two.
Energy is
Because-
pish. I'm sorry, it's terrible.
Yeah, to some people it tastes like something. Maybe to some people it tastes between something like between piss and battery acid. To some people
Yeah,
it is
it just tastes like
the
pish.
best thing ever. I love
Are
it.
most
Besides
energy drinks
water,
based
tastes
usually
like
pig piss?
Like I hate any other energy drink. However, I like Red Bull. It's the taste. I don't know. It's like soft drink, but better with caffeine.
I'm sorry, but fuck modernity, return to tradition, drink war.
Yes.
I've already
Fuck
drank half a
tradition.
gallon
Fuck
of
mean
water.
modernity.
that-
Drink vodka.
You mean the British
Um,
way of saying it? Like bottle of water.
I'm sorry.
I was
I'm sorry. I can't say.
Blah, blah.
I'm sorry. I can't say bottle of water. But still.
Bottle of water!
Bottle of
Oh,
water.
I'm English.
It's bottle of
I
water.
like to drink tea and eat plain toast!
Oh, Johnny, go show ya. Johnny, go show.
That's
Pardon.
That is English. You stupid
Pardon
retard.
me.
I am
You're the
Scottish.
same fucking
I'm
thing.
Scottish.
Do I care? You are linked.
I am Scottish, not English.
Pardon me.
You
Are
are
you
the same
saying?
shit pile of
Are
rocks.
you mocking my? Are you mocking my mother tongue?
Are you mocking my motherfucking
Your
time?
mother may as well not have a tongue.
By
You sound like
God's
a
bones and the bones of the Queen, I'm completely profounded
In
by your
Scotland!
words, man. I'm
You
going
sound
to
like
find your
fucking
IP
Shrek.
address and piss on your
Sound like
fucking
fucking
dog.
Shrek.
And
For
right before
Scotland!
At least
I'm
he's
going
doing
to
a
piss
Scottish
on your
accent.
What are
fucking
you
dog.
doing in the swamp, donkey?
I'm going
Donkey, what are you doing in my swamp?
fucking dog. And right
You made
after
What are
I
you doing in
do
my
that,
swamp?
I'm
Swamp
going
smell
to
like dick, donkey.
I'm going,
Ogres are like
Yes,
onions.
wait,
They have
Shrek.
layers.
I'm going to
Do you think
bloody
Shrek's
piss
gay?
on- I'm going to piss on your bloody dog, and after I do that, I'm going to suck your
want
fucking
to see them
balls.
go.
Shrek is not gay. Shrek is a
I'm
top.
Welsh. I'll fuck your bloody
He's a
shit.
power bottom, actually.
I'm gonna shank a man.
I'm going to suck your shit. I'm Welsh. I'm Welsh. You know, I suck sheep is what I do.
The Welsh don't count.
The Welsh
What the
are not
fuck is a
human.
Welsh?
Have you heard how they speak?
I'm technically English. I'm part of the
Yeah, no.
geography speaking.
Fuck the Welsh. Just gonna say that now.
They're not humans.
Yeah.
They
I
might.
basically,
They
I
might as well
basically,
just fuck sheep.
Okay, no. So it's not just the Welsh who shag sheep. So people from Aberdeen do that as well.
I basically,
Anyone from England has fucked a sheep.
No. So the two stereotypes for fucking sheep is the Welsh and
and
people.
the Albanians.
No, people from Aberdeen.
You know, the thing is that we have there is like the trilogy of animal fucking. Like you have the Welsh who fuck sheep.
Same with the people
You got the Turks. You got the Turks, Arabs, and Albanians who fuck goats.
and camels.
And you got the Chinese who fuck everything.
Yeah, no, they eat everything.
Well, that's why all the Chinese
Let's
food I
go.
get always tastes weird.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Africans
it's
fuck
usually
everything
made
as
out of
well.
other meat.
Yeah, my Chinese dog meat
Look.
tasted a little salty. It was a bit
So
weird.
whenever I went to Chang's like yesterday, and I asked what the meat was, he said yum yum.
King Kong on my fucking, Taiwan.
Can I just take a moment and ask, like, seriously?
No.
I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting racism in this podcast. I thought it was just
It's
gonna be
what we
like.
are.
What did you expect? He's European. I am racist. I am racist.
They're East
All
European.
races here.
Look, there's something about this thing about the Chinese. Look, I'm not xenophobic. I'm not afraid of them.
Oh, God, what were you about to say?
I'm not afraid of them. I'm just saying, I could like beat the shit out of one of them
The
chicken balls.
Chinese are
any day.
weak and they're ruled by Winnie the Pooh. They have no
I'm
respect.
sorry, but when you open with,
like,
I'm not
imagine-
xenophobic or anything, but when it comes to the Chinese, you know you're going to say something bad.
I have personal feelings about this.
Fuck the
Like,
Chinese.
look, nothing
The good thing
personal.
they do is porn.
Nothing personal on it, but remember when I said that I hate a few people, but the gays aren't one of them?
Yeah.
Well, the Chinese are. Look, they own part of my hometown, like essentially. My town is near.
Yeah, they
My
also own a part of my fucking town.
What do you think of the?
No, I don't mean the population. I mean the country itself, the Chinese state.
Yeah, same
Remember-
here. Well, there's like three
like-
Chinese people in my town, and they all run a donut shop
No,
in the middle of
I
it.
don't mean that. I don't mean donut shops. Like, remember how every Chinese corporation based in China has to follow the Chinese law, and this by extension, the extension of the state itself by law.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys have a Chinese district,
Here's
you
the
poor
thing,
bastards.
Costco owns part of my town. My town is basically part of. It is near. Have you heard of Piraeus? It's basically Greece's largest port, and my
Yeah.
town is near
yeah.
that.
All right.
So they own the 70% of the port is owned by Costco.
Oh, nice.
70% of Greece's largest port. That's basically
So if you-
commercial. That's basically commercial suicide by us, but we're getting used to retarded decisions.
So-
That's basically Greek politics.
So, Proxy, if you hate
I remember,
if you hate the Chinese, what do you think of people from Hong Kong? Then do you lump them in with the Chinese then, or do you view them as
No,
separate people?
most thing I dislike with the
When you
Chinese.
throw a Chinese person down the
Look,
stairs, do you think they make change noises when they hit the floor?
Jesus
No, that's
Christ,
Jews.
dude.
Ah. Again, that's just how they name their children. Ching Ching Chong.
I don't think we have 5 minutes
there's
of
one
usable
fun
footage
fact.
for this podcast.
There is one fun fact. Look up the Japanese word for merchant. Look it
Oh,
up.
don't
I
tell
already
me.
know that one.
Oh, what is it?
Look it up yourself, it's better.
Oh no! I swear to God, if it's with like Jew or something.
Pretty much.
Look it up.
You know, speaking about the Chinese, the Lithuania, I remember got sanctioned by China because
What
I
did
think we
Lithuania do?
No,
I think we
it doesn't
opened
have to
relations
do
with
Jews.
Taiwan.
It has to do with the Chinese. Like, look it up yourself. Japanese word for merchant.
Gosha? Which one? Which one are we talking about?
I'm talking about the. I'm posting it in the host channel. Just wait a bit. That's basically the Japanese word for merchant.
I can't read that. I'm not Japanese.
It's shonin, but what is that supposed to?
Look it better, more closely, and try to find the resemblance to something.
Look at the word itself.
Oh, it looks like a Chinaman.
Oh my God! Yeah, I see that. Yeah, nice one.
Also, look at the Japanese word for noise.
Oh God.
Wait,
It's just a
Oh,
bunch
yes,
of them.
it's
Isn't it?
Japanese word for women, yes.
Maybe it'll either look like a woman or a black man. I don't know. Who knows?
no, the word.
Yeah, will
for-
it just be the
I think
Tyrone
it's-
meme?
Oh,
think,
noise is just running away.
I don't remember the way. I don't remember the way it is, but it's either that three letters that each of them mean noise makes up the word for woman, or the other way around.
Yes, it's the
Like, I don't remember which
First
way
one.
it is. Like,
Of course
three
it
words
is.
for noise. But three words of one basically mean the other way. And it either is that three words for noise makes the word for woman, or the other way around in Japanese.
Anyway,
It don't
back
have
on
to
topic.
be-
Why are transgender people going to go to prison?
Because they're
They're
illegal in
crimes
Russia.
against nature and should be forcibly castrated again.
They're illegal in Russia, which is good. I love Putin.
Look,
Oh, no, don't throw your Putin
That is his
shell.
only redeeming
I
thing.
love Russia. I love Putin. Slava Bogu.
look.
Slava Россия.
So complete.
I have a disagreement in that.
We
Like,
just cut to his camera and there's just a Russian bitch holding the gun to his head.
the thing is that most transgender people, I believe they are misguided. I don't dislike them personally. I mostly feel bad.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, like, especially the underage people. I think Andy Real can agree with me here that a lot of people don't can't find a way for their lives, and they basically come to the wrong label for that. Like most people that are underage and they identify as transgender people don't suffer from gender dysphoria.
So, can I tell?
Like,
Can I tell a story? It's actually a story that relates to this. So, in my school, there was a guy I was friends with named Matthew. Actually, can I say his name, or should I give a fake name?
fake name.
I mean, you can probably say it as long as you don't give like a last name.
I won't give a last name then.
I mean, try to find
Then
someone.
you should be.
named
You should be
Matthew.
fine. You should be fine.
All right.
Well, jokes on you. I have found a guy named Matthew in Scotland. Aha,
Nice one.
I'm going to find him.
Yeah. Anyway,
Like, it's like I'm going to find someone named George in England.
true. Anyway, so the guy I know named Matthew. I was good friends with him. Like, he was a funny guy. And then it would have been start of S3, I want to say. So high school was 6 years. So the third year, I want to say it might be in second actually. Fuck, it might be in the second. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He just out of the blue comes out as now he's transgender.
At what age?
Oh fuck, let me think. So,
Maybe not give that many details.
I want to say 14. Now, before this had happened, I had been to like his house before, and this is the part that might get me some trouble. His mom is a fucking crazy person. Like, there's just something up with his mom is
Color me surprised.
his mom is fucking crazy, and I can assure you, because this was like out of the blue. Like, there was never any indication before. Like, I can tell you with 100% certainty, his mom had something to do with that. So the person he was really good friends with was a guy I was friends with. I'm not gonna give his actual name. Let's just say his name's Kyle. I'm not gonna give his actual name.
I think you already gave it out.
No, this is a different guy.
Oh, it's a different guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this guy, the different guy, I'm gonna call him Kyle, was like really good friends with Matthew, like for like most of their lives, and like if I remember correctly, Kyle ended up making a joke about Matthew cutting off his penis or something like that after it came out, and Matthew and his mum tried to get Kyle kicked out of the school because of it. And I've talked to.
Scotland moment.
Oh yeah, he didn't, but it was pretty close to happening. And so, as I said, I'm friends with this guy. His name isn't Kyle, but I'm just gonna call him that. And yeah, he says the exact same thing about Matthew's mom being like the focus of it was just that was influence from his mom. And there's
No, that is kind of messed up. Like,
Oh, it's a messed up story.
I miss the old Scotland. I feel bad for the situation. Like,
Yeah. It's a
like we've gone too far with men in skirts. Like, I prefer the old men in skirts
yeah.
that weren't transgender.
But to continue the story, so no, Matthew basically just stopped coming into class, and he was like apparently he was in like the special area of the school called the base, and apparently he was there. I never saw him there, and eventually I got internally excluded one time, which is basically we won't let you go to your classes. You have to do your work in the special area called the base. And Matthew's brother, who has autism, was there. Who's his older brother. I'm not gonna give his name, but otherwise it might get like too easy to find who I'm talking about. So I'm not gonna give his.
Oh, so we don't want to talk about Spurgs? Got it.
No, I'm just not gonna talk about his brother's name. I'm not gonna give his brother's name, but his brother was like saying this like to me like, I have no fucking idea what is going on with this. This has come out of nowhere. I have no idea what's going on, and it's like another case of just what the fuck's going on here. And yeah, I didn't see Matthew for ages. Now I was like in a PlayStation party with him start of the pandemic. Again, then didn't hear from him, and I still haven't to this day. And it's basically like he has no. I don't think he has any friends now, and because of his mom's influence on all this. Like, he's not.
Be right back in 5 seconds.
All right. But he's not like in any classes now, so he's got no qualifications at all. He's got no one because he's been completely isolated from everyone, and like, what the fuck's he gonna do with his life? Because he's probably gonna end up like his mom, because his mom lives off benefits and divorce money. And I'm gonna just flat say that, yeah, his mom lives off benefits and fucking divorce money. That's how she makes. She doesn't have a job.
Waste of a human.
Yes. What did they call them?
Like leeches.
Those are called leeches.
Not leeches. What's it called? Worthless eaters, I think they get called, something like that. Yeah, basically leeches on the system, and that's what he's going to end up being because he has nothing to get a job with. And it's fucking depressing, honestly. Like, and like he has a younger brother as well, and you can already see like the influence that's happening on him, where he's like dressing like a girl a bit and stuff. And it's like, oh fuck, she's got his mom's gonna ruin 2 of her kids. His older brother's cool though. Like, as I said, I talked to him the entire day. I was eternally excluded. Good guy. I like him a lot.
This sounds like less of a trans issue and more of just a completely fucked up, horrible situation for children to be raised in this like horrible household with sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Granted, it sounds like transness is involved.
Oh yeah,
in the situation.
I'm not saying this is like what every trans kid's like. I'm just saying, like, see, Proxy was saying that some of them are just don't have gender dysphoria. I was just telling the story of an example of that, which, yes, fucked up in story altogether. But yeah, there's quite a few like things I've read where it's like quite a lot of like, especially kids with like autism and stuff. Like, I end up like seeing the stuff online and because it almost comes off.
Alright, what did I miss?
I was just finishing telling that story, but yeah, what I was saying was like quite a lot of like kids with mental health issues might see. There's been quite a few cases of this where like teenagers who like have depression or something like that will see all this trans stuff and they think, oh, that's what's my issue. So like another story of someone I know who is trans was my first ex-girlfriend came out as trans a few years ago at this point. And I can tell you from having dated her, she's not fucking trans. It's like depression and stuff. And well, I mean, like every example of a trans person, like in my day-to-day, well, not in my day-to-day life, but like I know in real life, I've never met one who I can say that's like even somewhat. I think there's a chance there's gender dysphoria. I think every example I have of one is just grooming or promotion of it online or other mental health issues. But I think Proxy does have a point because there's like every study I've found, and I haven't found one that said otherwise, has said that like kids who identify as transgender as a child, before 18.
Not just children. It's just more. It's more noticeable. However, the thing is that besides the children, it's also with adults, and what they recall from the past experiences. Like I remember reading studies, and not only from health organizations, but also about scientific studies that basically point out that most of them have experienced some kind of abuse. Most of them have gone through depression, psychological issues. Most of them have attempted suicide, have been harassed, or even abused by the parents before even coming out. And many of them were even molested. That might sound a bit too harsh, but that's basically according to the studies. 70% of people identified as homosexuals or transgender people, especially transgender and bisexuals, they have lost their virginity by the ages of like 16. And if you look up at the ages at the statistical studies, it's basically anywhere between 13 and 17. Or even 10.
Well, it appears that there's still at 30% because I am still a virgin.
Yeah, but a lot of people there in those statistics, I'm not saying there are an exception, but a large percent of that, because 70% is such a large amount.
Oh yeah, I'm not
imagine
denying that. That is
70%
that's a
of them
staggering amount.
have lost their virginity while being underage, and many of them by their close family members, like molestation. And that's not what I mean personally because I don't like them. That's scientific studies and
I
peer-reviewed confessions.
I have another story I can tell.
Is there a source in that also?
I can provide the source in a chat later, so we can have it under the video when it's published. The thing is that there are studies for that. I can provide the sources later. I just don't have them ready yet.
But
I have what I remember from that and written in the notes. However, I can provide the sources later. So anyway, the thing is that most of them have had some kind of psychological or genetical problem that has helped them acquire those behaviors. Like
I
I
can
said
confirm that
before,
from every like transgender person I've known. It's either like the group
I
I'm
said
talking about or
before,
ones online. Yeah.
there isn't a genetic pretext for being homosexual or transgender, meaning that there is an gay gene, for example, that makes you homosexual at birth. However, there are some genetic conditions that make you more effeminate or more likely to adopt that behavior. Say, for example, someone XX males, for example, that's a syndrome where a male individual who's basically almost 100% male at birth. However, he has two X chromosomes. That's basically a genetic disorder that someone is male genetically. However, he has two X chromosomes. That is pretty rare, but it happens.
Or they're just lacking testosterone, so they're just a soy
That's
male.
basically the effects of that. That's the effects that those people who suffer from that condition have a very low testosterone, and some of them develop gynecomastia, high fat percentages, or basically small genitalia,
Is it
and
bad that I'm
large
imagining
breasts.
people like that as the soy Wojak? Is that bad?
Kind of, yeah. People jokingly refer to it as socially engineered femboys, which basically, by the way, that's basically what happens with a disorder. Anyway, that's a genetic disorder. If you suffer from it, you are more likely to basically adopt that behavior if you know it exists. We know that most people in that group are more effeminate. So if you, genetically speaking, if you are born more feminine, you are more likely to adopt it. It's not guaranteed, but you're more likely. That's the case. There isn't any gauge, and we haven't found one despite looking for it. Nobody even found a genetic gauge in that basically determines if you're born gay or straight. However, there are some genetic instances where you are more likely to adopt that behavior. Say, for
Uh,
example, how a person that is say people that are born with a psychological disorder are more likely to become criminals. There isn't a gene that basically determines if they become criminals,
The warrior gene.
but it makes them more susceptible
Yeah, with the warrior
to it.
gene.
Yeah, the warrior
I,
gene.
I
There
just wanted
isn't
to.
there isn't a
Oh, what?
psychopath
I wasn't
gene.
paying attention.
Can you let Anderveil speak, please, Proxy?
I mean, there isn't a gene that makes you being born a psychopath, but there is a warrior gene that makes you more. Can I say that? That makes you more likely to adopt that behavior in your life. That goes for a lot of sociopaths because psychopath is basically inherited at birth. However, sociopath is adopted later in your life. It can be determined by your genetics. If you have the warrior gene, for example, which is a real gene with that name, you are more likely to develop some kind of psychological illness later on in your life, or become a criminal, because you are more how can I say it? You are more what's the English word? Impune. You are more susceptible to it.
What
And
were you
that's
wanting
the
to say,
case with
Ander?
gay people. I mean, there isn't a gay gene per se, but there are some genetic disorders that make you more effeminate and thus make you more likely to become one. It isn't guaranteed. And that's the thing that a lot of these people are simply misguided, from what I believe, especially minors. Because you have a lot of people that are like 10, 13, 16 years old and identify as either gay, bisexual, or transgender. And these people, I believe that they have been either misguided or went through specific situations in their lifetime. Like I know a specific person, I won't say any names, but I know him
Just do
from
it. I
the
already named names.
yeah, I know him from the internet. He's basically 14 years old, a biological male, and identifies as, if I remember correctly, aromantic, bisexual, and transgender.
Is it Tyler?
No, no, but he's close enough. I mean, that guy I'm mentioning has a profile picture of Pig Crew, and browses liberated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that explains it. And he's like 14 years old. And
You know, I just
from
thought of
what
something. I just thought of something.
and from
You
what
know how you're talking about like the genetics being like the driving factor behind like being gay and whatnot. I've noticed a lot of gays are generally like communists and socialists. You know, but like, is this also determined by genetics, or is this just
in
as
a fa-
a?
Are you
in a
trying to come
matter
out
of
to
fact,
us?
Yes. In a matter of fact, yes. Because
What makes you think about communists?
I
Off
mean,
left.
it might sound
And also
awful,
looking
That is
but
a
in a way,
stereotype, and you know.
I mean, in a way, yes, because
Is
there
it?
have been researchers.
So for quite a bit, as we were just admittedly dicking about with the cameras, and our faces were shown, mostly because most of us were wearing gas masks of all things, but more or less, it didn't fit with the episode, and I don't feel like having the possibility of me or my co-host's faces being doxed, the minute possibility it is, still too high a chance. So I have cut this part. You're not missing much, but that's why it's there, and it also just did not fit with the whole episode. Now you can go continue enjoying proxy talking non-stop.
The
Listen,
government will take it from
nationalizing your own shit, it was the base thing you could do.
What do you mean?
You nationalize your banks, you nationalize, I don't know,
I disagree
healthcare,
with you.
you
You
nationalize your
nationalize
shit.
a sperm bank?
Look, I disagree with it because if shit is my property, then I have every right to do with it as I wish.
Listen.
I can claim,
If you could make shitting a job, you would make so much money from the government.
look, I could throw my shit at the politician, and I could do it because it's my own personal property.
I
But
can
yeah,
go shit in a bucket for the government, and they would pay me if it was
no, I
nationalized.
haven't done that. I mean, to be honest, sitting in the politician,
Loans. Ow.
look, it isn't such a decent thing because I've basically scored at our prime minister face to face. Funny story.
Have we just finished the podcast already?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
seems.
anyway,
Essentially, yes.
the
In
thing is,
closing,
Well, we're still
in
recording.
closing,
look, I want to finish my racism, okay?
In closing, Lord of the Rings was inspired by a Norse mythological tale.
One of the rings is especially occupied by homosexuals. Guess which ring of what place?
What?
Another ring of a specific place is specifically occupied by homosexuals. Guess which I'm talking about?
Greece.
Hell,
Greece is inhabited only by homosexuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most of their history and art. Just dudes fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the third circle of hell. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, Greece is hell. I agree.
I've been on a holiday to Greece before. It is
I mean,
fucking
with this
terrible.
temper-
I've also been to
Like
Greece. I
Virgin.
liked it. That's the
I
thing.
hated it.
Look, Greece is a shithole because it has a lot of gays and migrants. So that's the issue. With it.
Yeah, I saw that when I was in Athens. So many
Athens-
fucking Arabs and so many Indians.
I fucking
Kill
despise
the
Athens.
Arabs.
Wait, no.
There
no,
were so many
not Indi-
greasy, sweaty motherfuckers who looked like they were about to rape you.
Not Indians, Pakistanis. There's a difference.
There is no
the ones
difference.
that we bombed
They're
No,
both
they're-
street shitters. I don't give a shit about the difference.
Okay, no, they are both street shooters, but there is a difference.
I told you I don't give a shit. They're literally both street shitters.
That is
So the people,
I don't care
the people
what the
the USA
difference is.
bombs for fun. Got it.
They can bomb both for all I care.
Yeah, that's why we do,
Good.
and still do.
That's
You
the
know
only
what
good thing the
this
U.S.
is?
has been doing.
Do you have
Bomb
any...
defense.
Look,
I
do you
would
have...
recommend you cut the recording.
the thing is that
I feel like this is the podcast that will get
so
us
let's
banned.
let's wrap up the podcast.
I'm
So
gonna get fucking arrested.
the thing I wanted to say about the situation is that despite my opinions about my personal feelings about gay people, I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. I basically believe that the specific treatment I have in mind is basically the best way to help them out in their lives as in society in general.
Just so everyone's aware, we've been recording for 2
Look,
hours and 44 minutes.
I'm not.
Oh, I'm very aware.
I'm not a sadist. I don't hate, look, I'm not a sadist. I don't hate people for no reason at all. I don't like the suffering of people.
Do I?
just believe
I'll
that
point out
this specific,
there's like half
I
an
just-
hour to like 45 minutes. That was
I just
before the
believe-
episode started.
I just believe that this specific mindset I promoting is basically the best way to treat them, to basically handle society in order to prevent it from basically becoming another California. Because my country is heading that way. Have you seen Athens around Pride Month?
Motherfucker, have you seen London? London is a fucking hellhole right now. You can't say shit about Athens. Look at fucking London.
Not only that,
Oh,
have
the
you seen
depressed fog city.
the pride parades? Because that's the thing with it. What I said, I'm not having an issue with them because if they want to be degenerate in their own households, I can tolerate it to an extent. I may not like it, but they can do whatever they want. They can ruin their own lives. However, I believe that it shouldn't be promoted to society, nor normalized, because it sure as hell isn't normal. And we have already seen it that in societies in the past that it has been normalized as a behavior that societies where sexual deviance is normalized as a normal part of society. These societies never prospered, and basically a few years away from ruin.
Sexual
Like I
deviancy
mentioned.
is nothing new. Like the
There-
promotion of
yeah.
it is nothing new because the West has been doing that since like the early 20th century in Weimar Germany.
Yeah, that's the
My
thing. But,
my
look,
Muslims.
Yes, proxy. I read my
Look what
Warhammer 40k
happened-
lore.
yeah, but look, however, what happened with the Weimar Republic you mentioned. This
It
is a
fucking
premise something-
collapsed, which is good.
Yeah, that's the point. Because sexual difference is one of the signs of a rotting civilization. Because the thing is that normal behavior and social criticism is basically a healthy behavior for a society because it roots out unhealthy behavior. It's like the immune system of your organism. You call in this case sexual deviancy.
So
Sexual
the entire
deviance.
West is basically the sick man of the world, and Russia, China are all like thriving civilizations.
China's about to fucking collapse. What are you on?
Not
Yeah,
exactly.
China is about to collapse.
Not
And that's
exactly.
good. That's a good thing.
Look, not
It's going to
exactly.
be
I fucking
broken
hate
for
China.
what, the 30th time in the last 100 years?
Which is good. Again, I hate fucking China.
Look,
Good.
in a way, yes.
Fucking China then.
Not about China, but in the way that the West is a rotting civilization. It's like I believe that we have some years away from societal collapse. Not in terms of government, but at least societal decay, because we have already seen this pattern a number of times in the past, like with the Roman Republic, the Weimar Republic, all the China, for example, with the Ming Dynasty, because we have seen it with like societal issues, invasion of foreigners.
Most of China's.
Because when a civilization is rotten within its core, it becomes weakened. Because in a way, societal criticism is a way of rooting out the weakness within a society, not necessarily by force, but by promoting a better way of living. Because if you ask me, because at least personally, but I believe it's more objective if you put it that way. Basically, doing nothing but fucking 24/7 isn't exactly the best kind of lifestyle, especially when you're creating yourself a list of health issues. Like, especially with gay people, not as bisexuals, but especially gays. Since Sodom is the only way of having sexual activity, it usually results to health issues, like a genuine puncturing of the anus in some way. Because since biologically speaking, it is meant to take things out of the body. When you take things into it, and forcefully penetrated, it basically tears the tissue.
But why is the
So-
G-spot back there?
What?
Thanks, homie.
Isn't
The G-spot.
isn't the G spot in the vagina?
No, he's talking about the
Men
fact
also
that the
have it.
prostate, when stimulated manually or with some other object, apparently it creates extreme, feelings of pleasure in
Yeah,
the
because
male. And so he says,
that's penetration in general, but also goes for your mouth. In the for
no,
women.
It's specifically it's the nerves within the male prostate that he's talking about. I'm pretty sure.
Well, look, genetically speaking,
Though that's off topic. I think. Hey, you
Let's
want to
not
finish
go-
so
let's
I
not
can
get
talk
into
to
the
you.
science of fucking another man.
look, that's
Let's go into the science.
that's not the way it works because your anus isn't meant biologically to be penetrated, and that's the vagina in the female organism. Because if it were, how can I say it in a straight face? Penetration is a way of sexual reproduction, explicitly between a female and a male. It is exclusively meant because one part of the human body is meant for natural penetration in a means of reproduction, and that's the female genitalia. The anus, on the other hand, for women too, isn't meant for reproduction. Its biological purpose is to take waste out of the organism. So it's essentially to take shit out, not in. And when you penetrate it forcefully with an object, you are treating it in a way it isn't supposed to handle.
No,
So
listen, I have a counterpoint to that.
let
You ever
me-
had a shit so good, like you feel that like big ass log coming out of your fucking asshole, and it feels really good?
What?
Literally because the crabs got
Okay,
G-spot.
then.
Then you might be gay. Just a suggestion.
You're
Just a
Greek. You
suggestion.
can't-
Maybe you're
Suggestion?
wrong.
No, he is.
Look, jokes aside, I mean that's also a thing to because you feel satisfied about taking it out. That's a thing that
So maybe
the anus-
that's the feeling
No,
of pleasure that they're feeling. That's like a
Yeah,
replication
yeah,
of them getting a really big shit out.
Yeah, that's the thing that the purpose of the anus is to basically take waste out of the body, to basically
It'd
take
be
it
nice
out.
if my ass would stop burning whenever I take a shit.
Look, let me finish. So that's the thing that it is supposed to transfer shit out, not take them in. So when you're basically forcing penetration into it, you're basically causing what's the word for it? Like not trauma. You're basically stressing the tissue in a way
Like
that
stimulating.
yeah, you basically stimulate the tissue with a stress that it isn't supposed to handle. So that's why a lot of gay people, especially in their elderly years, have to wear diapers because literally their anal tissue is. No, I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Statistically speaking, that's the case. That's the case statistically speaking because the anal tissue is basically relaxed to the point they can't control it. That also goes for women who often have anal sex too. That
Proxy.
also goes for women.
Proxy, I'm just wondering.
Because-
I'm wondering. See, you're Greek, right? Wait,
Yes.
when you get your trad wife, will you let her peg you?
What the fuck?
Roxy, do you already wear diapers?
That's the thing.
What do you mean that's the thing? You already do?
How the fuck would I do that?
We already know you do. You don't need to hide it. We always accept you. We'll always accept you, Proxy.
Look, I am saying by the sole fact that I know what it means. Like
Proxy,
I regret,
listen.
I
My
regret
friend.
even knowing, I regret even knowing what the term.
Proxy, listen, if you like it up the ass, we're not going to judge too much.
Proxy, listen. My friend, we won't judge you here. We won't judge that you take it up the ass and have a little bit of leaky diarrhea afterward.
Fuck off.
We don't care if it's like hot chili down there.
Just
We don't
side
care.
off, seriously. Side off.
Listen, it's okay. It's okay to be Greek. It's okay to be Greek.
I have to say, I feel
In
like
full
today.
seriousness now,
We're not
my
Greek,
point was-
folks.
Look, my point was that forced penetration, like anal sex in either heterosexual or homosexual way with a woman or a man, it isn't supposed to act in that way. So the thing is that it has been research in that way, not only by personal experience with people who are doing it, but also by scientific data, that it is resulting in biological, medical issues in the hind. Because you are basically wearing the tissue in ways it isn't supposed to handle. So you're basically, at the end of it, you're not able to basically control the muscle because it's relaxed to the point of not being able to control it.
Yeah, you've
That's
stretched
why,
it so far.
yeah.
You
So
just fucking work it out, dude. Just go to the gym, work out the
no,
muscle.
no, I'm serious
It's
right now because
literally that simple.
that's according to research. Because
Why am I hearing
Lift
multiple
more.
Greek people?
that's supposed to be according to research. So people who often experience anal sex aren't able to control their anal muscles, and many times they also experience literal tears in tissue. Not only just in not being able to control it,
Oh,
also
Jesus Christ.
And,
the
and
tissue,
listen. It's the
the
same thing if you
tissue
take like
peeling
an
off.
11-inch wide shit.
And have you ever seen like taking a shit
So
and then
anyway, a raccoon can fit up.
Wait, wait.
have you ever taken a fat shit and then seeing blood in the paper? That's basically the same way with anal sex. You're basically causing tears in the tissue.
A
And
proxy.
those tissues can become issues because they can.
Why
They
would
can
you know?
be,
You know. Have you seen it yourself?
because I've read it on articles. Because I wanted to do research on the subject. Anyway,
Why don't you do it firsthand? That'll be a good research paper.
that forced penetration causes tears in the tissue, and those can be infected, which we can basically kill you. That's the thing. People often forget how there are risks to basically the homosexual lifestyle because of to how sexually active it is.
Well, that's why we got
Nowadays.
monkeypox.
I mean, not necessarily monkeypox, but AIDS. Have you seen the AIDS statistics among gay people? Like 80% of them have AIDS or some kind of STD.
What?
That
Oh,
kind of
wait,
might
what?
be the CIA though.
Whoa, wait. First of all, I have
Anyway,
to say.
since we're still on the
That
topic
might
of
have been the
ass, I was
government.
checking
Around,
host chat.
look, around 70 to 80% has experienced some kind of STD in their lifestyle, in their lifetime.
Proxy, this was supposed to be a conclusion. If you keep introducing new topics and just like it will never end. And I do have to say something at the end. So unless
Like,
we all
stop
want to be here
talking
for
about
another
gay
3
sex
hours.
for 5 minutes, please.
Yes, we get it. You're Greek.
No,
Stop
it's
talking
Pride
about
Month.
it.
Yeah.
It's Pride Month. It's
Po-
okay. It's okay.
Podcasting with proxy is like a Jenga tower. It just keeps going.
But I do want to hear Proxy.
Anyway, new topic in the host chat. Go ahead and look.
Fuck, what does it know?
Christ, I have to check my phone.
Oh, shit. Doesn't know.
The point is that
Oh,
this, the point of why I mentioned this is the thing that my point is that people often forget how risky it is to live like that. Like it isn't some wholesome shit to basically boast about. It's basically a risk to your own health
Wait,
in terms of
how many people have
not
you
on-
seen
not
boast
only
about
to-
wearing diapers when they're older?
Man, it's gonna be it's gonna suck to be a nurse in about 50 years. You're gonna have to change so many leaky diapers.
Oh,
mean,
wait.
depends on-
Just
wait.
let him finish.
You're gonna
Wait,
have to change
depends
you're gonna have to
on
change a
age.
leaky diaper that isn't even your kids.
Depending on your age, because it is kind of usual for someone to be able to be forced to wear diapers around the around how can what age? Around 70 to 80 years of age. Sure, it is normal, but not around 50,
Born into the diapers, dying in the diapers.
because a lot of gay people are forced to do
The
this.
cycle of being Greek.
A lot of gay people are forced to do this in their 50s or 60s, which isn't normal. It isn't.
Oh, you're right.
And
It isn't.
this is because of their unhealthy sexual lifestyle, and this is my point basically, that it isn't some completely wholesome thing that we are doing, and there is no issue, because there are issues, not only for your physical but also mental health. You see this with depression, STDs, suicidal thoughts, and a lot of other physical and mental issues. So we don't look into it because it is considered homophobic to do this. And this is why I don't want to promote it, because the more promoted it is and the more normalized it is, the more people are going to suffer. At least that's my personal opinion of it. I don't believe these things because I'm some kind of sadistic sociopath that wants people to suffer under an oppressive regime or whatever the fuck. I just believe that by not treating it as something normal, you help people not succumb to it in an unhealthy lifestyle. That's my opinion
Well,
of it,
well, but there is
especially
always like
minors.
there is always bullying that goes against gay people, which
And you can't
does.
stop it either because regardless of how many laws you
I mean,
pass, you
if you
can't control it.
normalize it, if it just becomes a part of normal life, then that would literally like become
Yeah,
almost
but
zero.
what about handicaps though? People with autism, for example. These people,
Eugenics.
look, those people have been normalized for decades now, but they're still being bullied.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Or gingers.
I'm sorry.
People have been, look,
Zemaitiskas, did you just say you were pro
look,
eugenics
I
against
didn't say
autistic
nothing. I
people?
didn't say anything. I
I
didn't
was
say
gonna say because I have
Eugenics.
autism.
look, you can bully someone for anything if you want to. You can bully someone for being handicapped, for being blind,
Or
for
for being
having
Greek.
red hair. Yes, in a way, yes.
Yes, get fucked.
Americans, I can bully someone for being American. I can do it. And despite the laws,
All right, listen here, you log shitter.
uh, despite how many laws you sit out, despite how many anti-discrimination laws you produce, you can't stop racism. You can't stop every asshole from basically bullying someone to the trip of suicide. You can't stop it. And that has been shown because we live in the most tolerant age in human history, when the worst forms of sexual deviancy, from gays to furies to furries or whatever is pronounced, are tolerated as normal
Furries.
parts of
Furries.
society. Yeah, not only gay people, but also the worst forms of sexual deviancy. Not only gays and furries, but also pedophiles are somewhat normalized. You see shit like MAP treating pedophiles instead of killing them, which has been something unquestionable in most parts of
Yeah, I
human
mean that's
history.
kind of boring to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, most people here nowadays basically say you should treat them like they're suffering from mental illness, which is basically unthinkable. Most people in human history would basically think of pedophiles as, can I say it, useless eaters. That's what
Uh,
you get the reference, I believe. Yes.
just to,
So
my understanding is throughout most of human history, like getting married at 14 was normal. So, like, I think the
Yes,
I'm
my
pretty
definition
father
of
had a
sure, like,
14
pedophiles
year old.
changed.
I'm pretty
that's
sure,
not.
like, back in the Middle Ages, fucking kids was normal.
No, it isn't.
Pretty
It
much.
never was.
I mean,
People
that's a
often,
lot coming from a
look,
Greek.
people often exaggerate what is in history because depends on what you call a kid. Because young for our terms, yes, but around 18 years of age.
Yeah, but it's pretty well known like the ancient Greeks liked a little bit of boy pussy.
No, they
Like,
didn't.
didn't they start at, like, maybe 13, 12, 10?
No, I mean only at one point of history, but but it is complicated because remember about the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottoman Empire had a policy of basically kidnapping children from Christian families and either raising them as janissaries or
Yeah, but I
harem.
don't think pedophilia was involved in that.
Look, let me finish. They either force children to be basically either janissaries or harem workers, basically Cossack or or whatever Cossack, something. The Ottomans basically had eunuchs in their harems, basically men castrated and dressing like women. This existed in the Ottoman harems. So basically, the average Greek family had this knowledge that if they make a kid, the Ottomans are probably going to take it and raise it as a janissary in order to kill Christians or a harem worker. So they basically usually married them at a young age so they can avoid that because the Turks had a system of basically if the kid is married, they won't take him. They will allow the family to keep it. So families they didn't want it, but they were forced to do it. They basically married the kids at least ceremonially, not in practice, at ages of like 9 to 13, just so the Turks won't take them.
I'm not gonna lie,
They
this seriously just sounds like cope.
no, they didn't fuck them or something. Like it was purely ceremonial. and it only existed during the Ottoman occupation. Not earlier, not later. It was only a forced way to basically prevent the children to be taken away by the Ottomans because of a loop in their system. They didn't take married kids, so they were forced to do it.
Greek cope.
Even no one wants their children to be forcefully married at the age of 9. No one wants it, not even then. And it was still hated. You could see it in like written articles and media from the time where basically people despised the fact that they were forced to do it. Mothers and fathers basically lamenting the fact that they had to do it in their children just for the Turks not to take them away from them. It was a forced thing. It was something forced, and you could see it in like preserved writings from the time and records. So
Well, I think
anyway,
this is the time to do the conclusion.
yeah,
Yeah, so let's maybe start wrapping up instead of going on about Turks and parents.
wait. Before we wrap up, what was I was saying before the Ottomans?
We're done. We're done. We're not talking about
Nope.
we're not talking about the Turks anymore.
What?
No, before
can
that,
I-
We managed to make it without
let
losing
Proxy
the
get
boys.
like the last
like
thing,
what was
and then I want to
saying?
say something.
What
I
was
think you were
I
talking
saying
about
before that?
degeneracy and like how people are accepting pedophiles
Oh,
now
oh,
or
yeah.
something.
The thing is that
Yeah, Proxy
in
he
the-
talks a lot about a lot of stuff, and then he'll just like skip over just like, oh, we're normalizing pedophiles, and just keeps going with something completely different, and just leaves
Yeah,
this
kind of.
huge thing just on the table and just leaves it.
The thing is
Anyway,
that
we're normalizing pedophiles. So anyway, about the Roman Empire, and
Yeah.
yeah,
this is how it
in
went.
regards,
The entire
so,
episode.
so in regards to that, we're basically living the most tolerant age in human history when we're basically normalizing the worst forms of sexual deviancy, not only gay people, but also furries and like the serious pedophiles. We're basically tolerating them this time. And regardless of that, uh, the depression and suicide rates are higher than ever. Like, and they're still on the rise. Like,
That's because of
remember,
industrial society. That's because of industrial
no,
society.
no. Remember 5 years ago when we said that the suicide rates between trans people were 41%. The suicide attempt rate,
Yeah.
41%.
Yes, everyone knows the 41% statistic.
Yeah. That was years ago. Now it has gone up to 55%.
Oh, has it? Really?
Around 50 to 55. So it has risen to like 10%. How? I mean, over the years, the tolerance rate has gone up. People have become more tolerant. The media, the banks, the governments,
Yes, but there
social
are
media,
also studies
schools.
Who's behind the
that show-
banks? Who's behind the banks? Who's
I
behind the
won't-
banks?
We discussed that last episode.
Stop.
Who was
I
behind the
won't
bank.
answer. I won't answer. I won't answer. But I'm going to say one thing. They all have connections. So anyway. So anyway.
Have
So anyway.
connections. I wonder why.
So anyway.
What connections? What connections? Please
So-
don't cancel us. We're not
So
making a
anyway.
joke. There's no joke here. There's no
There's
inside
no
joke.
joke.
Look, in
No
complete serious-
jokes. No
No
jokes.
joke.
We're just joshing.
None of us have
Okay,
read the
no
Protocols of the
shit.
Elders of
In
Zion.
complete seriousness, like most schools
Right.
around the world, in most countries of the modern world, the majority of the governments, schools, social media, and corporations basically support that publicly, and they denounce
And
any
who
form.
runs these?
Look, they basically denounce any form of discrimination and legally and morally protect these sexual minorities. And despite that, despite living in the most tolerant of them, in the most tolerant society that has ever been to them in ages, and despite living in a society that basically accepts them for whom they are more and more as the years go by, the situation goes worse for them. They become more depressed. They become more suicidal. I can't.
Actually, no, though.
I can't find an excuse. I can't find an excuse for that. I can't find
I
any.
saw a study that was showing that LGBT people and especially trans people that have support groups around them, their suicide rates are almost like down to what the straight people's are.
No,
It's actually
last
that
time I
much
checked,
of a difference.
Last time I checked, it has gone up, like from 41% to 55.
I think he's not
General,
talking about
it
the
doesn't feel-
general population. He's talking about a subsection of that population that is in a more supportive environment. But this is supposed to, we
Yeah,
want
my
to
point.
sort of wrap this up. So if we keep going in this thing, even though I agree with homosexual, like it's never going to end. And I literally been waiting for you to finish so I could say something. And if I took as much time
Go
saying
ahead.
what I say as you did, we'd be here for another like 2 hours. So I'll keep it
Yeah,
short.
go
We are in
Like,
we are a perpetual never-ending podcast, and it will go on forever.
Oh, what have I done?
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to make.
What if we got you into?
Say what you wanted to say. Go ahead.
it's okay.
Yeah,
All right.
speak.
So
It's
I am
weird.
going
It
to
was
go.
quiet.
I am going to go ahead and say that first of all, it's unfortunate. Well, we came into this knowing that you and I, you being proxy general, would not agree on many things. And at this point, still, I'd say the final conclusion I disagree with, and the sort of suppositions coming in about sort of like, is gayness good? Is transness good? Is gayness bad? Is transness bad? Is pride good? Is pride bad? We probably still are diametrically opposed on. I will take a moment to say I was pleasantly surprised by the small moments of common courtesy and things that we did agree on. I was actually really surprised at the number of times that I'd come out and go, oh no, actually Proxy is telling the truth on this. This is supporting the research. And so I did want to say. I would love to have a more detailed conversation with you about your opinions on this matter, minus the being verbally mocked for being Greek.
You can't fix that.
I mean, I can't fix that because that's also the case for other servers. To be honest, like I've been used to it. I mean,
Just
Greece
say
has-
you're like Turkish Albanian.
I mean, even if I were Albanian or Turkish, I wouldn't have been mocked so much because apparently Greece is the laughing stock of Europe for actually being
No,
European.
that's Denmark. That's Denmark. You guys
No,
are
If you're
no,
Albanian,
because-
everyone.
No, I
will
thought it was
suck your
Sweden.
cock.
Danish people are
Everyone.
not so mocked because I've been to many servers on Discord and Reddit, and I can take it as a joke, but it gets kind of boring. Like, oh, Greek, gay Greek, haha, funny. Like,
If you're
I can take-
Albanian, everyone will line up to suck your cock, guaranteed.
I feel like the no money meme is fucking worse. It's
Yeah,
more
I mean,
infuriating.
it is. I mean, it is accurate though because we do have no money.
Yes, that's why it's infuriating.
And about
That's exactly
and about
what.
the thing, there's also the thing about about Greek sucking the cock of Germany. I mean, that kind of goes for me, but not for the Germany you might suspect.
Oh, I wonder which
There was
one.
no doubt about what Germany is.
The funny Germany.
Yes, the two funny Germans. In fact.
You
There
mean the
are-
base Germany? Got it.
Are we
I
talking?
mean,
Are,
the two of them.
Which Germany are we talking about?
I think we're talking about the one with the leader that starts with the initials AH. I think we're talking about the one with those initials.
Wonderful, yes.
Where were we? Oh, right. Andrew basically inviting me to a DM chat. Yeah, basically that.
Or maybe not a DM chat, but just something where we could get more into the policy about this, because like there's things that you said where it's sort of like, okay, I'd want to get into the details of this because I disagree with you, but you seem like somebody who actually has reason and ethics in what you think about, and the fact that you're diametrically opposed to me doesn't mean that we couldn't have some sort of dialogue that reaches more common ground. And the fact that we're diametrically opposed to me is more opportunity for an interesting conversation. I won't. Well, I mean, maybe I'll get like one Greek joke in, but it'll just be like one. I'll have like one for the entire time we talk. I'll like time it really well.
Yeah, like I can understand that. Like I'm not a racist. I'm an intellectual racist. Like I'm not one of those. Look, I'm not one of those
Wait,
weaknesses that say,
don't ruin it, Proxy. Don't ruin it.
Racist, like
I mean, I'm
intellectual.
not one of
You
those.
already have
I'm
a
gonna
thing
use
going,
that.
don't ruin it.
I'm gonna
not
use
one
that.
of the-
Thank you. I'm gonna.
I'm not one of those people that basically go hurdur brown people bad. Like I have reasoning. Because I too used to be like you.
The only reasoning I have is that they're invading my country and they're brown.
in terms of ideology, I used to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Damn Cubans.
in terms of ideology, I used to be like, homie.
Fucking Germans invading my country.
Imagine I used
Again.
to be
Again.
libertarian. I used to promote absolute democracy, like in terms of Athenian democracy. I used to
Oh
believe that.
Jesus.
Before,
You poor sad child.
however, I changed opinion. I went from a complete
Good.
democrat to basically monarchist. And monarchist and
Oh,
something
God.
else I would like to mention.
Let's not draw this out into another 2 hours.
As I said,
Okay.
it
Well,
never ends.
Please. I want this shit to
Oh.
end.
Me too.
I
I
just
want
wanna
to
go
Open for another
masturbate.
2 hours.
There are,
I want to
there
go
are-
fucking eat,
His reaction.
please.
This is Mr. Bones
Yes,
while
Joey.
the ride never ends.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording now. Okay. Has,
Okay,
any-
let's
has
go.
anyone
die when he sees this.
Let's do
does
the
anyone have anything else they want to say before
Just
we?
let-
Oh
Never see
yeah,
the light of day.
Lord of the Rings was inspired by Norse myth.
Germany is gay. Germany is
Fafnir.
gay. Germany is gay. Germany is gay.
Okay, here's
Yeah,
Germany is in
yeah,
fact
so is
gay.
Sweden.
This may be hard to hear since you don't know how to be sincere, like you really care about what people think. And so that's why you lip sync all the talking points and trendy buzzwords. It's dehumanizing, it's so absurd that you think that anybody cares, cause nobody cares, nobody cares about your politics, your taste in music, your regurgitated takes on everything, the clothes you wear or the food you eat. Please shut the fuck up, it means nothing to me. It means nothing to me, it means nothing to me. It means nothing to me, it means nothing to me. This may be hard to hear, but all the bands you like are pretty queer, like they really care about what people think, and so that's why they all lip sync all the talking points and trendy buzzwords. It's